My name's Colin, and this year I'm hoping to run a 100-mile ultramarathon.
My name's Andrew, Colin's brother. It's actually 108 miles, and I'm going to join him on that 108 miles. 108 miles. 108 miles. 108 miles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fresh from completing their 108-mile ultramarathon, please welcome Colin Goodman.
He's the runner that likes to run.
And Andrew Goodman.
He's the one who eats jelly.
If these two knuckleheads can achieve such a feat, then there's hope for all of us. This is Idiots Go Running, Season 2, Episode 13, our 108-mile ultramarathon, Part 1.
Colin, we've just heard the intro, so everyone knows if they didn't know before, they know now. We completed the 108-mile ultramarathon. How are you feeling today, Colin?
Well, Andrew, I am feeling fantastic. How are you feeling, Andrew?
I am feeling outstanding, and there's a story behind that we'll get to. We are recording this podcast on Tuesday night. The marathon finished on Sunday, so it's fairly fresh in our minds still, Colin, isn't it?
It is. I don't know whether I'm coming down or I don't know what, Andrew, but yes, it's super fresh. The feeling's fresh, and yeah, it's unbelievable, Andrew. I'm speechless.
And this is going to be a two-parter episode. I think we've got so much in this podcast to get through. We're going to break it into two parts. So let's go back to the last podcast where we kind of ended with a week and a half to go. We were just off the Zoom call with the organisers and everyone else taking part. And do you remember the percentage chance of rain that was coming our way on Saturday, the 1st of June, 2024, Colin, at that moment?
It was aimed to be a terrible day, and I think about 60% chance of rain.
70%, Colin. 70% chance of rain.
Well, sorry for the 10%, Andrew. I know you're all about your percentages. The organisers actually sent an alternative route in case, not a massive alternative route, but if there was a downpour, that you can get to the next point safely. And it was actually longer than the original route. So that was where we were standing with rain and with weather. There was a chance the route could have a slight diversion.
And as you said, would make it even longer.
It would. But sure, what's an extra couple of miles? As Gary says, it's only 8 miles after all. I
know, but then you add more miles to that. But I have to say, after that, I was a wee bit like, because this is the third year of this event. The first 2 years has been great weather. Scorchers, Colin, I believe. Absolute scorchers. And then the year we sign up, it's going to be a downpour. And I was like, I said, yes, this is going to make it much harder, Colin. And what did you say? It's only one more thing. It's only one more challenge to overcome. And here's me, Colin. There's 108 challenges I can think of. I don't want any more challenges to come my way. But a few days later, Colin, it all changed.
It did.
So it went from 70% chance of rain to 0% chance of rain. 0%. That's very low chance of rain over the weekend, Colin.
And the sun in the sky, Andrew. So the wee weather map, all of a sudden, sun appeared and 0% chance of rain. Andrew, your prayers were answered.
You better believe it. That perked me right up. The day before the event, Colin, Friday, you took the day off work. I booked a half day off work. And we decided to hit the road early, get to the caravan, because we were staying in Mum and Dad's caravan up on Port Rush. We were hoping we learnt from our previous ultramarathon up the North Coast. We got there a bit late. We got to bed late. And sure, the heating broke and I didn't get much sleep. And it was a nightmare. And I made a bit of a call this time, Colin, didn't it? Do you remember what I did to you?
What did you do to me, Andrew? I can't remember.
There's one fixed bed in the caravan, which is nice and comfy with a duvet and pillows. And then there's then a bed you have to make up yourself.
Hold on, you didn't make a call. You literally just said, Colin, we're going, it's a nice new caravan, beautiful caravan. There's a lovely big bed. And Andrew goes, I'm getting a big bed. I think
that's making a call, Colin. I made the call.
That's not making a call. It's taking a big bed. It's Colin's shotgun. You know, I'm happy enough. We're in this together, Andrew. We'll work as a team. And the funniest thing, Andrew, is that you give me the other bed. Now, the other bed is seats that you convert into a bed, and it makes, you know what, it's a nice big bed. Maybe not as comfortable as your king duvet, plush sheets, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But you actually pointed at it, Andrew, and you said, no, you don't need to make that bed. Sure, just sleep on the chair.
I did. I said you just move the cushions away and sit in the chair or sleep in the chair.
Sleep in the chair. Sleep on something that was just slightly bigger than my body would. I couldn't stretch out.
It's a long chair.
Fully.
You lie down on it. Like, I'm not talking about sitting up. You could lay down on it.
It takes 2 seconds to make a bed, Andrew. And you were taking a big bed. He goes, don't waste your time. You just lie, just sleep in the chair. But like, Andrew, you're a disgrace, an absolute disgrace, taking all the best stuff, giving yourself the best chance and throwing me under the bus.
We were planning to get a taxi the next morning to the event. And then we decided there's a guy on our campsite called Keith, and we decided to go over to Keith and ask him, Keith, is there any chance you could help us out?
Do you want to rephrase that, Andrew?
Well, I sent you out, didn't I, Colin? I kind of said,
did.
Here's an idea.
You did.
Could Keith take us? Because Keith is a very, very, very nice man. And I said, Colin, do you think you could ask him? And
I was happy to, Andrew. You know, if you don't ask, you never get. And I know it sounds like you sent me out, but I don't think you had much opportunity to reconsider saying, do you think we should ask Keith? I was out the door and
you just went straight out and asked him. And before we knew it, he had agreed to it. The gent of the man he is.
Legend.
And we had just got our ride. It was about a 25-minute drive from the campsite to the start line.
I knocked on Keith's door. I'll just tell you a story. I knocked on Keith's door because I love this phrase he gave me. And I said, Keith, are you busy at 20 to 7 tomorrow morning? And he looked at me as if I had 15 heads. And you know what? I told him what we were doing. I said, Keith, we're going to run 108 mile and we just need to get to the starting line. And he goes, if you are going to run 108 mile, I will gladly take you to the starting line. And that was his attitude. There wasn't even a query in his voice, Andrew. It was absolutely awesome. I go to bed at 9 o'clock and I get up early. And Andrew, I surpassed that in this trip. What time did we put our heads down at?
Right, get this. We were going to get up at about 5:30, or we were getting up at 5:30 in the morning. And I said, Colin, could we aim for 8? And we actually ended up going to bed 5 to 7, 6:55 p.m. We were in bed, Colin. It turns out we slept for 10 hours and 35 minutes, and it was absolutely glorious.
It was. You didn't get up and you didn't mess about with the heating and you didn't wake me up, you know, because you were beside the toilet. I suppose last year...
you have to remember, I had the big bed with a duvet. It was lovely and warm. It was space. I could relax. I was in caravan heaven. So, as I said, I made the right call, and it was absolutely, what a way to start the event, by having 10 and a half hours of sleep under your belt. And Colin, turns out we needed that sleep.
Oh, that sleep was absolutely glorious, Andrew. Like, I made up my side of the bed, and the bed was actually huge. See, a single person, whenever you make up the bed in that caravan, Andrew, I was loving life. A wee bit cold because guess who didn't have a duvet? And he had a couple of blankets, Andrew.
Well, that was me last time, Colin. I had no duvet, you had the duvet, and I had the blankets. So third time it'll be rock, paper. Will there be a third time? That's another story for another day. But we got up the next morning. We had an hour. What do we have? About an hour 15 to get ready before Keith would take us. And the morning went quite smooth. Colin, what did you have for breakfast?
I boiled eggs the previous day in the caravan. I ate boiled eggs in a bagel with avocado, some tomato, some spring onions, and a wee cup of coffee, Andrew. It was absolutely glorious. And you didn't change your food. You stuck with what you know.
I had a coffee, had my porridge with banana in it, and it was brilliant. We got ready. We got into Keith's car. We went down to Ballantoy, and there's people there. There was blue skies at that time in the morning. There was a bit of a buzz happening. We signed up and we got our number. We got our drop bags. And this is a very important part. Gary was putting the tracker on the bags. So you get your tracker. It's quite, what would you say, maybe half the size of
like a chunky mobile phone, Andrew. It's like a chunky
mobile phone. You put it on your bag, more or less in the shoulder strap, and Gary would tape it up for you. And you being the gentleman you are, you said, Gary, I'll save you taping mine up. I've got tape in my bag and I'll tape mine up.
He said
and that's
he
what
was
you
running
did.
behind, Andrew. And I said, Gary, because you started taping yours up and I was in queue and there was a few people behind us. I said, Gary, look, I can throw tape on this. Don't worry about it. Leave it to me. And I went to my drop bag. And in my first drop bag, I had a roll of tape because, Andrew, I'm not going to need a roll of tape till the first drop bag.
But you wouldn't think so, Colin. You wouldn't think so.
I just took the roll of tape and I thought, well, my drop bag's going. I left it over with him, had it in my hand, so I just put it in my pocket and didn't think anything of it. We carried on after that, and I actually thought we were going to run from where we were.
So Gary took us up a hill, maybe a 5 minute dander up the hill, and we're going to play our first bit of audio, Colin, because we had Andrew and Colin in the past. They were doing some audio recording for us. So Andrew and Colin in the past, over to you. Colin, we're here. It's 8:04 on the 1st of June 2024 at the start line. How do you feel?
A little bit excited and waiting for the opening speech.
So we're just waiting to start. We're in a big group of people. What a view, what a day, Colin. And it's exciting. Weather couldn't be better. Speech starts. Speech. So, Colin, it wasn't a speech, but it was a safety announcement. It was telling us about the event, telling us what to do and the water stations and all that business. And then he just said, did he just say off you go, or did a gun go off, or I can't even remember?
I don't think a gun went off, Andrew. I think he just said off you go, and there was a car following us because it was starting on a main road to keep everyone safe. So we sort of continued run downhill. Andrew, some guys just took off like racehorses, didn't they?
Some guys just went for it. Absolutely went for it. And I said, Colin, look at those guys, because we're never going to see those guys ever again in our lives.
I don't know who they were. At that stage, we were just in awe of I think we were looking at the view more than anything, Andrew, weren't we?
There was the ocean, there was the waves, there was the sea, which is all the same thing, really, as I call it, and the mountains and blue skies.
Did you see the water as well?
It was just an abs. Oh, there was water there. There was wet water there. There wasn't that dry water that we'd normally get. There was wet water, real blue wet water. And off we went. And now, we've talked about this in the podcast before, but we were going to go with 7 minutes of running, 3 minutes of walking. And we got this tactic from a guy called Jesse Itzler, and something else about Jesse Itzler, which I came across recently, and I said to you about it when he was doing like a motivational speak. He was saying about how your words matter. He hired a guy to come and run with him, and whenever the guy asked Jesse, how do you feel? Jesse responded by saying outstanding, and we kind of really went with that, Colin, didn't we? We every time I asked you how you feeling, Colin, you would say
outstanding or fantastic. We actually, what would you say, upgraded it? We made it more. We made it.
We enhanced it. We enhanced it, Colin.
Yes.
So you would ask me, how are you feeling? And I would say, fantastic. How are you feeling? Outstanding. And a lot of the time, most of the time, it was actually the truth.
Yeah.
And that was something we said through the whole entire event. And there was something else before the event actually started that morning. I said, do you remember what it was, Colin, about getting to the 33-mile aid station?
When it starts.
That's when it starts. I said that's when our race starts. I said, Colin, I have a feeling that we will be fresh when we get to mile 33. Do you remember me saying that?
I do. You're all about your fresh and so clean.
Because I said it a heck of a lot of times.
You said a lot of things, Andrew. You say a lot of things.
I do say a lot of things. And then I said something else. I said, Colin, at the 66 or in around 66 aid station, I believe we will be still pretty fresh. Yep. And then I went one further. I said, we will finish this race, and I believe we will finish this race in fairly good standing. Now, just because you say these things and you use fancy words, well, outstanding, fantastic, isn't that fancy? But, because you think these things
over here.
Because you think these things, it doesn't mean it's going to come true.
No.
But we kept talking to ourselves like this the whole way event,
and
all the way through the event.
It was everybody. It wasn't just any time in this event we were asked, "Oh, keep going, guys," or we got an aid station. How you feeling? They were like, I feel fantastic now,
and I felt outstanding.
And you did. But the funny thing was, see when no one replied with "and I feel outstanding," it didn't feel right, Andrew, did it? People asked me in the aid station, were like, "How do you feel?" or "How you feeling?" I'm like, "Oh, outstanding," and then you wait for them to say, their line.
Fantastic.
It never came.
That's how much was said. Goodness knows how many times we said those two words through the whole time. But Colin, you didn't always feel outstanding, because I have a video here at mile 8. Mm-hmm. I've got a bit of audio here that I'm going to play at mile 8, and let's see what happened here.
So Andrew's in hiding on purpose. What are you doing back there, Andrew?
Fixing your bag.
We are flipping Well, I didn't even know how many miles we're in. We're about 8 miles in, and my bag has just fell apart. This fancy bag. Fancy bag.
And then I'll stop it there because the wind got quite bad. But I had started to say the joke of it. What was the joke of it, Colin?
So I had this fancy bag, and I'm going to slate no brand.
It's a very dear bag, Colin, so was. It was a very dear fancy bag.
I'm not going to slag no brands, Andrew, but a certain brand has a lot to answer for. So before the event, Andrew, I was out running, and it was a small issue with the bag where one of the wee loops actually went loose. And that was okay. It wasn't a big deal. These things happen. Stitching comes out. We get that. So they were amazing customer service, and they sent me another bag before the event. And I was like, happy days. Now I've got 2 bags. So you never know what's going to happen. So I threw my older bag in, and it was sitting in my bag. And on the morning, I remember you saying, Andrew, to me, oh, you know, it's quite tight fitting all the mandatory kit in our bag. And I said, that's okay. My bag's bigger. You can borrow mine. And you were like, I like my bag.
I have a 10-litre bag. It was about half the price of your bag, but I really liked it. Yours was a 15-litre bag,
Yeah,
Colin?
15 litre. So it was a 2-in-1 bag. You could detach it and have a small sort of 5K bag, and then you stick on the back, and it adds another 10 litres onto it in terms of size. And it's class. It has lots of nice features to it.
And you offered me that bag, and I was like, no, I've got my own bag. And then at mile 8, your bag just went. It just snapped.
Yeah.
It just snapped off, and I tried to fix it, and I couldn't fix it, Colin.
I was running, and I was running, and then I heard this, like, it was like a click sound. I couldn't understand what the click sound was. I looked over my shoulder and was like, what's that click sound? And then I didn't think anything of it, Andrew. And then I heard a second click, and I was like, yeah, that's something weird. And I think you looked at me and you said, Colin, your bag's broke.
Your bag's falling apart. This is 8 miles, Colin. You have 100 miles to go. We need to fix this bag. And luckily enough, what did we have in your bag?
Beautiful white roll of electrical tape, Andrew.
So we taped it up, and we went our way again for a few miles. And then what happened, Colin?
Did it go again?
It went again. Then we went a few miles. What happened, Colin?
You're taping. This is actually, I don't know whether it's a bag's fault or your fixing of the bag.
Now, Colin, I don't think it's nothing to do with my fixing of the bag. Bags should not need to be fixed with electrical tape, Colin. Now, let's just set the record straight. No bag. Now, here's a spoiler alert. My bag didn't get an inch of electrical tape through 108 miles. Yours got a whole roll. In fact, so much so, we ran out of tape.
We did. So at one stage we had no tape left, and I think my bag was, did it break at one stage, and then it just had to deal with it towards the aid station or something? There was definitely one step out of it, and I thought, I don't know how this is going to keep going until the aid station. But Andrew, we managed to get to the aid station with my faulty bag. But Andrew, it was 15 litres. It could hold lots of stuff.
Our saving grace was that my wife was coming to the aid station, and I phoned her and I said, could you go to the caravan, get Colin's old bag and bring it with you? And it hadn't been for that, Colin, I really don't know what you would have done, what we would have done. But more your bag. So that was mile 8. The bag first went, and then we've got Andrew and Colin in the past at mile 11. Let's see what these chaps have to say to themselves. We're now sitting at 11.58 miles. Colin, how are you feeling?
95 miles to go by my watch. Andrew, mine's counting down, yours counting up. I am feeling good.
It just sounds as if you've taken one gel too many there, Colin. That was quite
caffeine.
That was quite upbeat and quite quick. So we're approaching the first water station. Colin, it's hard to put into words how fantastic of a day this is in every sense.
Andrew, we've been chatting and we have to get the salt into us. It's so warm that we're going to be losing a lot of salt here. So if we don't get enough salt into us, we're going to be cramping up. So I think that's our key takeaway, water and salt.
So when we get this water stop, we'll want all our water in our water containers drunk. That will not be an issue. But Colin, I'm at this time of recording, we're 2 hours 40 minutes in. I'm feeling fresh. Like I'm surprised just how fresh I'm feeling. We've said it a few times in the walk. It feels like, it's hard. It feels like we've been running for like 10 minutes, doesn't it?
It does, and we went through Giant's Causeway and other places that I've just been talking about. But no, it's been amazing. The view the whole way, coastal, sun in the sky. It's not too windy. It's not too warm. It's absolutely amazing. No other place in the world like it, Andrew.
No other place. We're feeling fresh. Andrew and Colin in the studio. We'll chat to you soon. And right after that happened, we then had... So you've had a bag in it,
Right.
and if you're not a long time listener to Idiots Go Running, you have to understand that Colin is the professional runner. He's the one that actually goes out running. He's the one that has done multiple events. This is my only third race, if you call this a race, our third event entered. My third event entered. Like, I am the muppet here. I am the one that just turns up and runs and eats jelly. So Colin, your bag's broke, and then this happens.
Well, Andrew, how's it going?
It's going well, Colin. Well, if it's going well for me, is it going well for you?
So, funny story.
Just to put it into context, tell the story before the funny story.
So we're going through a grassy area, and I said to Andrew, before our 40-mile run, this was all closed over, and you couldn't run through because it all grown over. So we got that bit, and it started to grow again, and there was leaves and all, and I got these leg things on.
So show them your leg things on.
So these are my leg sleeves.
I don't have leg sleeves on.
Andrew doesn't have leg sleeves on. Look at them wee skinny legs. Apparently, it's to help it helps fatigue a wee bit, right? And I was laughing. I was going, "Hey, look at me, Andrew. I bet you wish you had leg sleeves."
We're going, get stung, get sting,
Get stung, Andrew. Get stung. Round the corner. I think we all know where this is going. Round the corner, I came to a bit, and Andrew was ahead of me, and it was this wee verge, and we had to go over this plank to cross this river bit, and I planted my foot where I thought there was stuff, and it turns out there was no stuff. Andrew turns around and goes, "What's wrong?"
All I heard was a splash in it.
Andrew goes, "What's wrong?" Put my foot down, and one leg went down the bank, straight into the river. All my legs went into nettles, my backside's stinging, my legs are stinging, but you know what? My calves aren't stinging. My calves are fine, because I had leg sleeves.
Bag.
Run time!
So that ding that you heard at the end, we heard that ding every 7 minutes, and then every 3 minutes, or, ding 7 minutes, and then the next ding would be for 3 minutes, and so forth and so forth. So that's what run time was. So we stopped recording and we had to start running. And here, you weren't feeling outstanding then, were you?
Do you know what? It was, we were coming through, and I was telling you about these bushes that when I ran one time in these, because I'd been through this trail before. I've trained in this trail before the 40 marathon, and I was giving Andrew my experience going, yeah, this gets grown over and then they cut it back and it's hard to run through and all this stuff. And I was saying, I bet you wish you had a pair of leg sleeves so your legs don't get stung. And literally Andrew went around the corner behind you. And I don't think I was concentrating what I was doing. And my foot just planted down the verge, into nettles, into water, and you were concerned. Then you realised it was okay, and then you completely ripped into me, Andrew.
I laughed my head off for several minutes and just wound you up for several minutes.
Just thinking, like the whole backside was stinging. My right leg was stinging, but my calves, Andrew, my calves did not hurt at all. So if I didn't have them leg sleeves, I would have had a lot more pain. So do you know what? I see it as a win. I see it as a positive thing. But at the end of the day, if I didn't have them leg sleeves on, I would have been in more pain that day.
So your bag's broke, you put your foot in the river, you got stung all down yourself. All the things. But you know what? How were you feeling at that stage?
Fantastic, Andrew.
And I was feeling outstanding, Colin. Outstanding. Beautiful, sunny day. The miles were ticking by, and we just didn't feel them. It's just one of the most beautiful parts of the world, and we're going back and forth here. We've got another audio clip, Colin. So what's
the point in the podcast, Andrew? What is the point?
This is saving us time, Andrew. You see, Andrew and Colin in the past, they were quite clever, so they were. Yeah. Now, we stopped recording more in the second day, so we're talking for part two, maybe. But for this is great. You're Andrew and Colin in the past. We salute you. You're doing our present job.
Them guys are legends. I now know why people listen to them too.
Here we go, Andrew and Colin in the past. Take it away. Colin, we're on mile 30.8. We're 2 miles away from the aid station. How are you feeling?
Outstanding, Andrew. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. So
it's rehearsed.
It's a beautiful day. Still, the sun is shining. There's a nice breeze, which is keeping us cool. I'm joking aside, Colin, I am feeling good at this stage.
I could have sunburnt, Andrew. I could have sunburnt my shoulders. But,
and they do look red now you say that.
Yeah.
So this is the first drop bag station. I'm looking forward to this, to see what the food market has to offer. I'm getting a coconut water. I packed myself a coconut water, so I'm looking forward to that too. But so far, so good, Colin. I think we're doing a good pace. We're doing a good time. Like, you know,
we're doing exactly as we planned. We eat every 3 minutes of our walking. We're running the 7 minutes unless we see a hill. Everything's going good. I think everything's going to plan apart from me sticking my foot in water and my bag falling to bits. Other than that, everything's going to plan.
Well, we did see Jenna and the kids, and they brought your bag, and you said, take it to the aid station and we're going to fix it up.
Yeah.
So that's where we're on to now. Maybe a change of clothes.
Yeah.
Some hot food.
Yeah.
New bag for Colin.
Yeah.
And away we go again. Andrew and Colin in the studio. Back to you. It is brilliant having those audio clips, Colin. It's really nice because it's only 2 days after the event and you forget so much. And it was great seeing Jenna and the kids there to come out and support us. And it was brilliant. And then just shortly after that, we ended up in the first aid station. We walked through the doors of the hall, and Colin, what did you make of it?
Andrew, it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I walked through and I think I was shocked because you expect to sit down and get a chair and then start setting your gear out. Andrew, we walked through and the people came over to us, pushed the chairs over, sit down. What do you need? What can I get you? How can I help you? What, everything, Andrew. Do you need this? Do you need that? Is your feet okay? Is your head okay? Is this? And you kind of go, wow. It's just so many helpful questions. I didn't even know what one to start with, Andrew. What about you?
Colin, it was like a 5-star hotel. It was the service was like a 5-star hotel. We had just stepped in through the door and people started cheering for us. And not just because of us, but for other people. Every time more people came in, people cheered and they just got you a seat. They put a seat right in front of you. And now I did say to Gary, the owner, my first impression of it was like Beirut. It was just, there was so many people there and people were getting changed and taping up their feet and getting food into them. But the service was unbelievable. People would come up and go, do you...
I believe, sorry, I'll jump in. I believe you said, Gary, it feels like Beirut. And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, do you know he's never even been to Beirut?
And then I said, in fairness, Gary, Beirut's meant to be lovely now. Back in the day, you used to say, or certainly here in Northern Ireland, if something was like Beirut, it was like a war zone or something. But now, apparently, Beirut is a lovely place to go and visit.
I actually didn't get that comment, Andrew. I thought, when you said this is like Beirut, I thought, wow, that's really harsh. I actually think it's quite nice.
Well, the service was just the amount of people, the buzz, the busyness of it. I'd never seen or experienced an aid station. Well, I've never experienced an aid station really like this in all my life. The last one was outdoors. But people just came up to you and go, do you want water? Do you want soup? Do you want pasta? Is there anything we can do? Can we fill your bottles? Can we get your bags? Open it. It was unbelievable, Colin. And these volunteers are they're volunteering. They're not getting paid for this.
No.
And they are serving you on a different level. I was just blown away,
Andrew,
Colin.
are you vegan? Are you gluten free? Like I was getting vegan sausage rolls. I had vegan soup. There was crisps. There was oranges. I'm trying to remember all the stuff. There was normal sausage rolls. There was normal for you. You could get pasta, Andrew. There was fizzy Coke. There was flat Coke. There was water. There was like everything. There was like everything was there. It was just. You wouldn't get that service in a hotel, Andrew. These people were working for free. Were working their socks off for free.
And we didn't know them. They didn't know us. We didn't know them. But they just wanted to help us try to get to the end of this race. And I have to say, I was blown away. And we didn't touch it at the start, but the people just blew us away in this event at the start. They were so kind. The volunteers, the organisers, and even the people. We didn't touch on it, but there's a few people come up to us and go, "Are you the idiots?"
Yes.
And we were like, "Yes, we are." And we had some chat and we had some banter. It was like, for the first time I realised, flip, people actually listen to this podcast? You know, like we just record this, have a bit of a laugh, and then put it out there into the world. And we know people listen to it, but it's only when you meet them you realise, flip, people listen to it.
And you know what? At this point, Andrew, I think it's fair to say thanks for coming up and saying hello to us and introducing yourselves. And, you know, feel free to call us the idiots, because I love it. As we say, it's a term of endearment. But yeah, thank you. Because sometimes, Andrew, with A-list celebrities like ourselves, I'm only joking, sometimes it is hard to just go up to someone and introduce yourself, complete randomer, to say, I listened to your show. But thank you so much for just coming up and saying hello. Me and Andrew really appreciate it. We do the show for the fun.
It gave us a real buzz, and I really mean that. I said to you, like, see those comments or those chats with those people, like, they are living in my head rent-free for 5 miles. For 5 miles, I had a smile. And that's true, I said that, Colin. For 5 miles, I have a smile on my face because of these people just coming up and introducing themselves and saying they listen to the podcast. It was just I've never experienced that before.
I loved being called the idiots, Andrew. I don't know how you felt, but for me, it was like, wow, I'm an idiot. You know, it felt great.
It really did. And people along the way, you know, it was great to chat with people along the way. So I know we went back a wee bit there, and we'll go forward to the aid station again. Colin, this is where you had to get your bag and then take everything out of it, get your new, well, your old bag really, I suppose it is, and then put everything into it. And how did that go for
Andrew,
you?
We said, coming up to the aid station, 15 minutes, Andrew.
Well, I said to you, Colin, how long we're going to be in here? And he goes, I don't know. Here's me. We're talking half an hour. No, 15 minutes, you said.
Next tips, Andrew said, you get in, you get out, you don't sit down, you just, you know, you keep moving, don't waste your time. And I thought, look, I've got a bag to sort here. I've got food to move over. I've got food to eat. I've got to organise myself. And so that's what I did, Andrew. So I got my new bag and I taped it immaculately. And Andrew, it didn't give me one more bit of bother because I know how to electrical tape a broken bag. So that was my bag fixed. It wasn't going to happen again. Got my food into me. Happy days. My water bottles filled up. And then, well, I did my usual, Andrew. What do I always do anywhere we go?
You started talking, and I don't mind talking to people, but by this stage, it was 45 minutes we were there. So it goes from Mr. 15 minutes to 45 minutes. Now, that's 3 times as long as we intended to be in there. Half an hour longer than we had intended to be in there. And you were just chatting. I was like, Colin, we need to go. When we went in there, the place was buzzing. There was tons of people. By this stage, there was just us and maybe 1 or 2 other people. And I was like, you know, people have come and gone since the time we've been in here. I think it's time to go, and we'll hit the road again.
Do you think it was something I said, Andrew? I cleared that place out quite quickly.
You maybe did, Colin. You maybe did. But it was a brilliant aid station, and we left there feeling fresh. We changed our T-shirts, not our shoes, just our T-shirts. We hit the road again, and we were loving life again.
Oh, just felt refreshed, Andrew. Not that we weren't unrefreshed, but you just felt like you were back to the starting line level. You and me, no aches, no pains. A bit of sunburn though, a wee bit of sunburn, because I put on sun cream and it just washed off us, Andrew. It just washed off us.
Well, you're speaking for yourself, Colin. I did not have sunburn at all.
Yeah,
you had a broken bag, you had stingy legs, you had sunburn, and I was feeling fresh as a fiddle. And again, this is me who has done a lot less training than you.
That's not a saying, Andrew.
What's not a saying?
Fresh as a fiddle.
I never said it was a saying. I just talked and it came out my mouth. I was as fresh as a fiddle.
Well, I've seen some fiddles in my time, but don't know how fresh they are, Andrew.
Well, now you're saying that, I think fit as a fiddle is a saying, but I'm leveling up, Colin.
Yeah.
I'm as fresh as a fiddle.
As fresh as a fiddle, and fit as a what? I don't know.
So we were on our road again, and Colin, everything was going well. The miles were ticking by. We had a lot of, and there was a few, like, there was 2 main aid stations. There was 1 or 2 main water stations. But what I was really surprised at was the amount of kind of unofficial water stations where the organisers would come and just from the boot of their car would have water and sweets and all this business. And what else did we get?
Oh, we got a fruit pastels ice lolly, and they're actually one of my favourite ice lollies, Andrew.
It absolutely hit the spot. So it did, Colin. So we were getting water given to us. And again, they were very, very kind. And you know what? It wasn't even the organisers or the volunteers. It was maybe, in this event, you could have a team. Now, you weren't allowed to have pacers to run with you, but you were allowed to have a team that could come alongside you and fill up your water and give you sweets and give you food and all that business. And you know what, Colin? The thing I was absolutely blown away with was, even we didn't know these people. We didn't know who their team or, who they were supporting. And they would say that, come up, if you're running by, do you need anything? Can we fill your bottles? Do you want sweet? Do you want crisps? And we don't know these people. And it was just, I was blown away by it, Colin.
It's like they were our team, Andrew. It's like everybody in them cars on the side of the road. Like, I didn't know what teams they belonged to, Andrew. But, they were on our team. They would still chat to us. They would still keep us going. They would still keep us chirpy. And it was incredible. But at this stage, was this not the stage where your wife was scooting about the place also, popping up here, there and everywhere, which was also incredible?
She was. And remember, what did I want, Colin? What did I want? Apart from soup, what else was I looking for from this run?
The one thing you said was, I want a McDonald's on this run. And Andrew, before the race, we got to the stage where we actually were going, we don't know actually how we're going to get a McDonald's on this run. Weren't we really honestly going, this is actually going to be tricky to get access to McDonald's?
Yes, but I was completely confident that my wife would just show up with one for us. And she did, Colin. She went off. She got us a McDonald's. She came back with the McDonald's. And you know what? For maybe an hour before this, maybe 2 hours, maybe even 3, I don't know. We were looking forward to this McDonald's like there was no tomorrow.
And it hit the spot, Andrew, because before that McDonald's, I think I said to you after the run, I said, Andrew, there was no really blips for me. I was rocking this run. But Andrew, you actually said to me before that run, now, newsflash everyone, when I'm doing miles, I can become a wee bit of a whinger. Or it's not really a whinger, Andrew. It's more an evaluator feeling sorry for himself. And I was going,
a winginator. You're a winginator.
I am the winginator. So anyway, so we had everybody else had these crews, and I was kind of going, I think we may have missed a trick, Andrew, that we didn't have that crew, that boot with the Tesco's shop in the back of it where you could just pick lots of stuff. We were carrying lots of stuff in our bag, lots of food in our bag. And I had got to the stage, Andrew, where I got sick of the food I was eating. Even though the stuff was in my bag, I still wasn't feeling it. I was looking forward to this McDonald's. And then other crews were there and we were running past them. I was kind of going, and I think a crew was getting their crew pizza or something at one stage. I was going, Andrew, I'm really just looking forward to some nice, hot, real food.
And food we got. Now, when Jenna came with the food, she stopped at what can only be described as the most midgiest place on planet Earth. Do you remember the midgies?
I do, and it wouldn't be an Idiots Go Running podcast without mentioning Dean Carnazes. So
you all know Dean Carnazes, friend of the show.
So he was on our show, if you haven't realised, and he said when he came to Ireland, he couldn't get over the midgies, and they were in your mouth, your ear, they just were everywhere. And
he must have been in this place. He must have been eating the McDonald's at the exact same spot we were eating our McDonald's in his run when he came to Northern Ireland, Colin, because they were everywhere. They were all over my chips. But you know what, Colin? I was so hungry. I didn't care. I estimate I ate about 50 to 150 midgies with my McDonald's chips. I didn't care.
It was midgie Beirut, Andrew.
It was midgie Beirut, Colin. Midgie Beirut indeed. And you know what? Didn't care. It was the nicest McDonald's I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah, and I did look at you, Andrew. I looked at you and I looked at your face. It looked like you had freckles. It actually looked like you had freckles. They were everywhere. And we were on one side of the road, and Jenna actually pulled the car to the other side saying, look, we're underneath trees. If we go to the other side, I'm sure there's less midgies. So we moved to the other side. We couldn't see any midgies, and we were standing there almost going, it could have been worse, Andrew. It could have been worse. And they were just everywhere. They were up your nose. They were in your ears. They were in your hair. And I ate ate my food so quickly it just disappeared, and then we carried on running down the road, I think, just to get rid of them midgies, and I think your wife felt the same. Now, credit to your wife, because she was the only crew who brought like kids in the back of the car with them, and your kids were phenomenal, Andrew, putting up with that event.
They were. They didn't like the midgies now. They didn't like the midgies at all. But the kids were there, and that was a real boost to see my kids. It really gave me a leap. It made me feel more outstanding than I already was, Colin.
Yeah.
And you see, getting the McDonald's, looking forward to McDonald's was amazing. Getting the McDonald's was amazing. Then afterwards, just being full from the McDonald's, because on an event like this, I learned that you need real food, and you need real food like a McDonald's. You know, I found out other teams, they'd get pizza. One guy we came across had a Chinese. Remember him? There was somebody else that was having a barbecue, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
So
remember that one?
I thought, I want a McDonald's for the banter. But no, this is, apparently it's a thing where you at this stage, and this is Saturday night, at what time would it have been, Colin? Must have been about 8:30, possibly, I would say.
It could. Yes, it definitely could have been, because it was still light and the midgies were coming out. I think there was one guy, every time he went to them, so his wife would have ran these events, and she would have ran it on plant-based. And didn't he have his wee thing out making her tea at every one of these, every certain points when he was stopping? So like, these people who are crewing these, if you're ever doing one of these long mile runs, don't be a Colin and get a crew.
And that'll bring us on to our next bit of audio. Andrew and Colin in the past. It's over to you.
Colin, 52 miles in. How are you feeling?
Absolutely outstanding.
And I am feeling fantastic. And we're not actually just saying that.
We actually are. We're not even just being optimistic for the sake of idiots being optimistic. I have no pain in my knees, legs, feet's feeling good, back, arms, have the trekking poles out. I honestly feel fantastic, and we're still dipping in and out of the 7-minute and 3-minute walk. We haven't changed.
So last time we spoke to you, we went to the aid station. We've probably talked about that on the podcast, so we'll not talk about it there. Halfway, Colin, it's amazing, isn't it? To know we're at the top of the mountain. We're looking down at the view, and now we just have to go down the mountain.
Yeah.
So every step now is a step home, or to the finish line. And it's been wonderful so far.
And I did have a tough moment, Andrew, didn't I?
You did have a tough moment.
And it wasn't hard, it was just, I'd ate all my food, I was worried I wasn't eating enough, and after the aid station, I think I had just ate too much, Andrew.
And then Colin.
What?
McDonald's came. My wife and 3 kids with a McDonald's that tasted so good. They'll write songs about it one day, Colin. Or we'll write songs about it, and we might well get a jingle or a song out of it.
Oh, stone my shoe. Sorry.
So now we have to stop because Colin's got a stone.
That was one of our tips. Not by Nick, but with Red, yeah.
If you get a stone in the shoe, deal with it straight away. So Andrew and Colin in the studio, back to you. You lucky so-and-sos. Putting your feet up.
How you feeling, guys?
Loving life. And you're looking back, and I hope you're looking back with a smile on your face.
Andrew in the past, you're so darn wise. It's unbelievable. So darn wise. We're feeling great, Andrew. We're
We're all feeling great. We're feeling outstanding.
We're feeling outstanding and fantastic. Colin, halfway, and at this stage of the race, of the event, I could honestly say it kind of felt like we had maybe, and this is crazy to say, but it kind of felt like we had gone 15 miles. Would you agree?
Andrew, we kept saying this. I think time just disappeared. Time just disappeared. It just became non-existent. We were on that run for so long that our life was just that run. Would you not agree? The whole world, Beirut could have been falling apart, Andrew, and that run is all that mattered. Us getting to that finish line, nothing existed. Nothing else existed.
You know, quite often in the days, the weeks, the months leading up to this event, I would look at the time, and like now, it is 8:15 on a Tuesday night, and I would be thinking to myself, we will have ran 12 hours, 15 minutes on the 1st of June, and you know, I've had a whole day's work done and all that business, and dinner and tea and kids and everything, and it was like, how's this going to be possible? But you see, when you're in the event, you just start running or walking and chatting, and you don't see ours. We didn't look at the time. Our time was not a thing. I think we said that a few times. Time was not a thing. We were just
in the moment.
We're just living in the moment, man.
But that is so true, because I would have said to you, when we were going out in our runs, I said, Andrew, like, when you're running during the day, everybody's in work and you're living your best life. I said, but it's them moments when everyone starts to get dinner and chill out and have their own time, you feel like you could be missing out. I can honestly say, Andrew, hand on my heart, that I was out at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock running, going, everybody else is missing out. This is amazing. And I'm not even saying that lightly. I loved every second.
And then it was starting to get dark, just a little. And we actually have another audio file here of when it was starting to get dark. So we will play that now.
It's getting very dark, Colin.
Like, what time is it, Andrew?
No, I don't know.
About 10, half 10? 11?
20 to 11. Don't even know the Champions League score, Colin.
I don't know the Champions League score.
know the Champions
It's about
League.
20 to 11. And we're in a wind farm. Why are we doing this? And I would honestly say, why are you not doing this? But look,
They're flipping sensible, Colin. They're sensible, that's why they're doing it.
you trying to say that we're idiots?
Yes.
But yeah, absolutely incredible. Night's kicking in. I'm feeling outstanding. Andrew, how are you feeling?
Fantastic. And I mean that. It's surprising just
Yeah.
how well we're feeling.
We are actually great at the minute, and long may this continue. Over and out.
So we'd mentioned about the Champions League. It was the Champions League final, and by this stage, it was all over. Real Madrid 2, Borussia Dortmund 0. I still haven't seen the highlights, Colin. I still haven't seen the Champions League highlights.
I've watched them.
Have you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Though I didn't miss much, Andrew. Well, I actually didn't miss much. It was, I don't support either team, and it looked like Real Madrid were actually very, very fortunate, as usual, as they are in European competitions, I believe.
But that, it goes to show that we weren't even thinking. We'd forgot about the Champions League. You know, time didn't matter. We didn't know what was going on in the real world, and this was some place. There was big wind turbines. You could, when you were walking, you walked right under them. Do you remember the noise, Colin? I'll never forget it.
It sounded like a wind turbine, didn't it?
Well, I didn't know what a wind turbine sounded like until standing or walking or run, whatever we're doing, right under it. And by this stage, I had just got my poles out, and it was quite funny looking back, because we did a video, and you see, if we knew, Colin, what the next 3 hours would entail, I would have lost a serious amount of sleep in the days, the weeks, the months leading up to this event, because things just got real, Colin. Things in the next 3 hours, things would just get real. Am I right?
I would say, Andrew, this was a roller coaster, and roller coasters go up and down. Now, when you start your run off in the most beautiful place in the world, and you carry on and you get a wee buzz, and then you hit the wind turbines.
Because that's a good point, Colin, because we had moved away from the coast. We had went all along the north coast of Northern Ireland. Now we're cutting inland. We're going over the Spurn Mountains, and there was no sea and wet water and all that good stuff anywhere. We were in the mountains, in the hills, and yeah, you're 100%.
Yeah, so cutting inland, and so we'd been through the most beautiful place you'll ever see in your life. And, you know, you do get tired. It is 11 o'clock. This is the point, Andrew, where I thought I would be struggling with sleep and everything. And surprise, I didn't. I was actually, as we say, time was ticking away. And then we were all this way. We were on decent trails. And then we got to the end of the wind turbines, Andrew, and everything stopped. There was like a bit of a clearing on top of a mountain area, and there was nowhere to go, and there was a handful of people ahead of us.
So I'm just looking at the time of this podcast, and I think, Colin, this is a good way to end, because the next 3 hours are quite eventful, and the few hours after that were even more eventful. And we've covered a lot of ground, and that's why we wanted to split this podcast into two, because it's quite long, Colin. We knew it was going to be long. We hope it's not going to be a 3-parter. And have you anything else to say, Colin?
Oh, Andrew, the next part of the journey is a real roller coaster. If you didn't think the bag breaking and all that jazz and me dropping in the nettles, the next part is a roller coaster, Andrew.
So, with all that said, my name's Andrew.
And my name's Colin.
And we'll see you in a day or two
On Idiots
Go
Running.
How are you feeling? Outstanding. How are you feeling? Fantastic. Running all day, come what may. Just two idiots on a wild ride. How are you feeling? Outstanding. How are you feeling? Fantastic. 108 miles with miles of smiles. Outstanding. Fantastic. All the while.
Idiots Go Running will return in our 108-mile Ultramarathon, Part 2.